Did we really go to the moon? The greatest space conspiracy? Imagine this, it's July 20th, 1969. Over 600 million people are glued to their TVs, watching as Neil Armstrong takes that iconic, giant leap for mankind. But what if it never actually happened? Today we explore one of the most debated conspiracies in modern history. Did we really go to the moon? Or was it all just a Hollywood-style illusion? To understand the conspiracy, we have to go back to the Cold War. In the 1960s, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a battle for technological dominance. When President Kennedy promised a man on the moon before the end of the decade, NASA had less than 10 years to deliver. Some believe the U.S. faked the moon landing to win the space race, save face, and boost national pride, without ever leaving Earth. One of the most famous pieces of evidence cited by moon landing deniers is the American flag. In photos, the flag appears to be waving, yet there's no atmosphere on the moon, meaning no wind. NASA explained the flag had a horizontal rod to keep it extended, and the motion came from the astronauts twisting the pole into the ground. But skeptics ask, why add a rod if they weren't expecting any wind? Another argument, there are no stars in the moon landing photos. The sky is pitch black, yet no stars can be seen. Conspiracy theorists say this proves the landing was staged in a studio. But scientists counter that the cameras were set for daylight exposure, too short to capture faint starlight. Still, some wonder, wouldn't NASA have fake stars too, just to be safe? Photos from the moon show odd lighting. Shadows fall in different directions, as if lit by multiple sources. Moon hoax believers argue this proves the use of artificial lights, like in a film studio. NASA, however, explains that uneven ground and reflective surfaces like the moon's surface or the astronaut suits can distort shadow angles. Still, the eerie lighting continues to raise eyebrows. The idea that filmmaker Stanley Kubrick helped fake the moon landing has become legendary. After directing 2001: A Space Odyssey in 1968, some claim he was recruited by NASA to stage the mission using advanced special effects. While there's zero solid evidence, the theory lives on in pop culture, fueled by Kubrick's mysterious nature and cryptic film. Could the moon landing have been the greatest cinematic performance of all time? Lighting and shadows have also fueled suspicion. In several images, shadows appear to fall in multiple directions. Conspiracy theorists claim this indicates multiple light sources, such as studio lighting, rather than a single sun. However, NASA and independent experts argue that this is a result of uneven terrain, reflected light from the moon's surface, and the unique properties of lunar dust. Still, the unusual angles and lighting inconsistencies have kept speculation alive. Perhaps the most cinematic theory involves the legendary filmmaker Stanley Kubrick. After creating 2001: A Space Odyssey, which was released in 1968, just a year before the moon landing, some believe Kubrick was hired by the U.S. government to help fake the mission. His mastery of visual effects, realistic space environments, and his known distrust of authority all make for compelling, if fictional, support. Although there's no hard evidence linking Kubrick to NASA, the theory remains popular in internet subcultures and pop conspiracy circles. Another major concern is radiation, specifically the Van Allen radiation belts. These zones of charged particles surround the Earth, and skeptics argue that traveling through them without adequate shielding would have been deadly. NASA, however, has repeatedly stated that the Apollo spacecraft passed through the belts quickly, minimizing exposure to dangerous levels of radiation. Dosimeters worn by astronauts support this claim. Nevertheless, the idea of lethal radiation is often cited in documentaries and online forums. Skeptics also point to the video footage itself. The low resolution, the grainy quality, and the sometimes awkward movement of the astronauts have led some to argue that the footage was slowed down or manipulated. They suggest that the unique gravity of the moon could be simulated by filming in slow motion and using hidden wires. NASA denies these claims, stating that lunar gravity is 1/6 that of Earth's, and that all footage and data were consistent with that environment. But perhaps the strongest evidence in favor of the landings comes in the form of physical samples. NASA reports having returned with over 800 pounds of moon rocks, soil, and core samples during the 6 Apollo missions. These rocks have been examined by scientists all over the world, including in countries that were not allies of the U.S. at the time. The chemical and isotopic composition of these samples are distinct from any known Earth rocks and match meteorites identified as lunar in origin. If the landings were faked, where did these rocks come from? So why do so many people still believe the moon landing was a hoax? The answer is complex. Some simply don't trust the government or large institutions. Others find comfort in alternative explanations for monumental events. And many are drawn to the idea that they know a secret truth others don't. In the age of the internet, conspiracy theories have flourished, feeding on selective evidence and unanswered questions. There's also the psychological element. It's easier for some to believe in a grand deception than to accept that such a feat was possible over 50 years ago, especially when today's space programs struggle to return to the moon. The fact that no human has walked on the moon since 1972 only deepens the doubt. In recent years, efforts have been made to restore public confidence in the moon landings. High-resolution scans of the landing sites taken by lunar orbiters show remnants of the Apollo missions, rovers, landers, even footprints. New missions, including NASA's Artemis program and private space ventures, aim to return humans to the moon in the coming decade. So, did we really go to the moon? The scientific consensus says yes. The physical, photographic, and testimonial evidence is overwhelming. But as with all great conspiracies, the doubt lingers, not because the evidence is lacking, but because belief itself can be more powerful than facts. Maybe, just maybe, the greatest conspiracy of all is how easily we can be made to question everything. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the unknown.